This is probably my favorite part of the day. You come here with some idea of what to expect, but I've never caught salmon in the morning. Then sturgeon in the afternoon. That was awesome. Two different fish in one river. We just switched rods and moved to plan B, and plan B worked perfectly. We started catching sturgeon. It felt like every time. There's the sturgeon. There it is. Every single time. When the rod tip twitched or moved slightly, everyone got excited. It was cool switching from thinking, alright, things are slow, time to relax. Then the rod tip twitches, and everyone's ready. We've got a bite. You get it. Just pull it out. Release it. Hold on a second. Just wait. Wait till it bites again. Alright. Pull it up and to the side. Just gently. Yeah, all clear. Perfect. I've caught sturgeon before, but not like this. Never as consistently as with Chris. I learned a lot from Chris. Yeah. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I want everything clean. Yeah. The rod should be positioned so the fish doesn't slip off. That's a good fish. Clear it out of the way, so you have room to maneuver. Let's try to keep it from going sideways. There it is. Look at that. Nice size. Perfect. Look at that. It's even a smaller fish. Yeah, dude, for sure. Alright. See, it has no teeth. I can grab it by hand. Good. It's a local fish. See those brown lips? Yeah, and its fins aren't too sharp either. This fish just lives here. Look at those lips. We call them nicotine lips. Poor little guy. We decided to head downstream. Probably about, I don't know, maybe 8 miles. We're floating downriver, approaching Portland, spending the day fishing, morning fishing. It's a great way to spend time. It's not hard, you just need simple bait. It's not too expensive. Overall, none of this is very costly, except for fuel to get there. We spent some time looking for fish, discussing how to set the hook, and trying to figure out the best way to catch them. A couple of times, we lost fish. We had some good bites, but couldn't land them. I lost a couple of fish. Maybe we'll show how calm Chris was when he said, "Come on, Eric, set the hook." When he pulled, it looked easy, but when he did it, it looked really smooth. But when I did it, he pulled while I was pulling simultaneously, and oh boy, he really pulled. I was fiddling with the camera. That's exactly why I lost it. Or maybe it just happened. Yeah, and then it really bit. Because you were messing with the camera when you lifted it. People probably thought, he's gonna lose it. So I just missed that sturgeon. Because it's much harder for me to judge, say, when he's pulling and I'm pulling. I just thought I'd miss him. Well, you saw it. Look at his belly. I grabbed him from the belly side. If he had eaten from that side, I think we would have hooked him. But sturgeon are completely blind, so they can't see it. It's not by chance, they just don't care. It's really about what works. Yeah, so I just smelled the blind fish. He never saw that coming. And so, often people step on this and press the bait down, or they have a small spiked strip in the boat, and they pierce the bait all the way through. That way, the scent leaks out and spreads. Is that true? Yeah. Especially when you're in very murky water. That's how the fish find the bait. I think they react to the scents we apply to it. And it makes a big difference in our success, right? If you miss something, you'll hook it. It happens to everyone. Everyone does some silly things. Strange things have happened to all of us while fishing. I don't think if you're an angler, nothing like that has ever happened to you. But you know, it was nice to see that you enjoyed watching me do my thing, like I could try it. And I'm saying, alright, just don't throw my gear in the water. I didn't mix anything up. Were you nervous when I cast my rod? No, I was most nervous about losing the bait I brought from Thailand than anything else. So we had 2 different baits on each rod. One had herring. The other had scent. On the left rod, we had herring, left over from spring mackerel fishing. I froze it and added some bait. It was dyed blue, because that's what we do in clear water. You know, they add various substances. It was salted, so the fish would bite well. It was salty, to make the fish bite well. And that herring really caught smelt, which was unusual. So tomorrow, when I go again, everything might be reversed. Tomorrow, I might toss a third bait, squid, worms, or sand shrimp, to see what the fish prefer that day. But honestly, I don't think it was about the fish holding in the hole or sitting in a specific spot. I think the fish just liked that bait. If we tossed 2, we might have caught twice as many fish. But this is one of those situations where you use 2 well-known baits and hope the fish chooses them about equally. So it doesn't mean the left rod's luckier and the right one isn't. Rather, they like this bait more. Get it? Sturgeon Vegas isn't too picky. Today, he just preferred this bait over the other. Again, everything was the same. Instead of a loop at the end of the line, we've got a swivel. It lets us quickly break down the gear. Again, use a sliding float, so the line moves freely. When the fish bites, we can hook it easily without feeling the weight. The fish won't sense it's carrying a 6 or 10 ounce sinker. The weather was typical, rainy, as usual for us. Whenever you check the forecast, you think, well, it's Oregon. You grab raincoats and warm clothes. Thankfully, we did, because today had it all. Blue skies, clouds, downpours, drizzles, everything. Before that, it was a 20-mile stretch. Storms could hit. Now it's sunny and warm. But in 5 minutes, it'll change. That's Oregon. We love this spring weather. I shouldn't be surprised. I've lived in Oregon long enough to get used to unpredictable weather. But if the forecast promises sun, or no rain, with only a 20% chance of rain, we still end up soaked. That's what happened today, but it didn't affect the fishing. That's how the weather goes. Rain, sun, clouds. Rain, sun, clouds every 30 minutes. The weather's constantly changing. It was awesome. Great weather, really. I prefer this to constant rain. Rain can feel a bit gloomy. At this time of year, we usually get one last good downpour before the Rose Festival. Then everything's fine. Budgets vary. Some fly to Alaska for the experience, others stay home. We're lucky to have salmon fishing here now. I spent about half a year on the coast, fishing for salmon in steelhead. Then another half at home, still fishing for salmon. So when March, April, May, June wind down, I'm back in September, October, fishing here again. It's super convenient for me. Launching my boat isn't too expensive. Most people you see here live within a couple hours drive. So 25 anglers lining the shore hoping to catch salmon is like one spinning rod, one lure, and one shrimp. So it's not an expensive hobby. You know, folks who hire a guide for fishing rely on my electronics, gear, and experience, but we try not to overcharge. We want fishing to be accessible to everyone. I've taken guys who saved all year for the trip, and others who just write a check and come along. And I've guided guys who could write checks and join me weekly. 10 Sundays in a row. We aim to cater to different people. Most importantly, what we're trying to do is get people into active hobbies. We want people outdoors doing something. We want people to enjoy it. What we've got We live in a unique spot. In the US, for example, there's nothing else like it. You won't see this in Hawaii. For instance, you can't fish for salmon or sturgeon. Or maybe even sturgeon caviar. I don't know, but you can't do that elsewhere. Here, we've got so many activities. In just 2 or 3 days, we could try so much. We could catch so many different kinds of fish, and spend the whole day doing it. You know, budget gets thrown around a lot, but everyone's budget is different. We try to cater to all. You don't need super expensive rods. There are things you shouldn't skimp on, right? Hooks and line are 2 of them. You can't cheap out on those. And learning to tie a good knot. That's number 3. Those are the most important things. If you can do that, you can catch any fish. Because the only thing between you and your catch is the hook, line, and your hands. And you don't need lessons for that. There are tons of tutorial videos. So many ways to learn. Everything else is personal preference. I use boats, electronics, motors, rods, and reels that are considered top-notch. I try to equip myself with the best gear for the fishing I care about. Like Jiguma's rods, Decutra reels, stuff like that, but I could get by with cheaper brands. No problem. Still, I'll never skimp on hooks. I'll never compromise on hook quality. Or leaders, 100%. If we catch double fish, because I can't imagine handling 2 big fish like that. It'd be pretty wild. 2 fish at once, I mean. The cameraman would have a blast. That's why I decided to film this episode, because anyone can do this. No matter where you fish, from shore or boat, Chris's boat or a guide's boat. I decided to come here, because anyone can come here and do this. Regardless of budget. Sturgeon fishing. It's something you can do at any age. You can come here with your dad and do it. You can fish from shore. We've seen plenty of people catching sturgeon and salmon from shore. And it's right here. You don't need to fly to Alaska to catch fish like this. It's right here. Portland Airport is probably 25 minutes away, maybe a 20-minute drive. The airport's no more than a half-hour away. You can fly in, hire Chris for the day, come here, catch some sturgeon. You can catch massive sturgeon here. There are truly huge sturgeon in these waters, so it's a trip anyone can take. That's why I really wanted to come here. Show people, this is an accessible fishing option. Come here, fish for salmon and sturgeon in one day. It's awesome, right? It's cool, isn't it? You can do 2 things in one day. That's why I called Chris and said, hey, I want to go in May. What will I see? Chris told me, yes, we'll fish for salmon. Maybe shad. We'll see what the conditions are. That's what made me call Chris. He's really cool. Not only is he a great guy, he definitely knows what he's doing, but he's just fun to be around. And he doesn't take himself too seriously. That's what I like about him. As a guide, you know, you can have a fishing guide. But you can also have a fishing guide who's fun to hang with, and that makes the trip even better. I'll bet. I grew up here, in this area, fishing right here. And I wasn't a wealthy guy. I learned how to read tides and currents. I learned the seasons, where fish move, what they're doing and how they do it, as much as I could. And it's a very inexpensive way to fish. I mean, if we were to go pike fishing today, you know, pike fishing is the second best thing after salmon. A person can come here with a hook and a couple of beads, cast it into the water, and you might catch some small fish. I mean, it's just so simple. It's just so simple. It's just so simple. Neither of my parents fished. Neither of them were anglers. My dad has never gone fishing with me, not once. My mom took me fishing once. I took my mom more than she took me. So yeah, my family group was from the Midwest, and when we'd visit them, with nothing to do for miles, literally, we'd grab an old bamboo rod, some old line, throw it in the retriever, and catch whatever, bluegill, bass, or perch, whatever was swimming that day. So it was more about wanting to get outside and do something different. I've never had a job where I was indoors more than maybe a month total in my life, except for high school. But as an adult, I've always worked outside. Rain doesn't bother me unless winds hit 40 miles per hour. The idea of the show is that literally anyone can do this, right? Anyone can do it. There are plenty of students who say, hey, let's pool cash and buy a $500 drift boat. Let's fish and skip class. Let's go fishing and ditch class somewhere. And they'd fish, skipping classes. Or fish somewhere and skip class. Some people did that and became great anglers, right? And great catchers. You get it. But most importantly, it's about being a good steward of nature. We've talked a lot today about conservation groups and what's happening with salmon. We could make 10 episodes on what's going on just in this area. With these anglers, you could literally pile up stories on what's happening. But the best part about this fishing is you don't need to spend much money. Buy a can of worms, a hook, toss it in the water. You never know what you'll catch. For example, if we did this today, you'd say, goodness, what lives in this water? How does this even work? And you could catch bass, perch, crappie, walleye, carp, and then there's shad, salmon, steelhead. Then Chris brought us right to the base of the waterfall. It was so cool. I've seen the falls from a drone, from a bridge, from a small overlook where you peer down. But I've never been this close to the falls. You feel its power. It was pretty awesome. You see water cascading everywhere. It felt like a whole water theater, where water just poured down and turned super turbulent. He got as close as safely possible, but I felt the raw power of Willamette Falls. It was pretty amazing. He got as close as safe, but I felt the power of Willamette Falls. It was pretty cool. It's also crazy, because when you look back, the weather seems perfect. But you can't see ahead. It's like a storm or something brewing. And it's pouring buckets, but you can't see it, because you're looking here, thinking it's just a nice rainy day. My favorite part is when they approach. You see them rising toward the boat. You start distinguishing them. You see them, and it feels like water lifting from 90 feet deep, where they were holding. You think, wow, this is way bigger than I thought. So I was really surprised how tough fighting a sturgeon fish can be. They can be massive too. I was shocked when I caught one. I was reeling it in, telling Chris, it's not that big. It feels small. Turns out, it was huge. I don't know how much it weighed, but it was the biggest fish I've ever caught on a fly rod for trout. You're just sitting here calmly, sun shining, relaxed. Then suddenly, you're going 0 to 60. As soon as you spot that sign, you just